Good morning, everyone. Eric Hayden here with the Weather Service in Morehead City. I had a question. Somebody mentioned no audio. You should be able to hear me now. We hadn't started yet, so I think that's the audio issue that somebody mentioned. But if for some reason you all can't hear me, it's showing that I have audio levels. Just let me know via the question tab. But I don't anticipate any issues with the briefing this morning. So again, I mentioned my name is Eric Hayden. You should all have gotten this webinar or the briefing for it in your email just before 7 o'clock in the morning. Not a lot of change overnight, and that's good news, especially for planning purposes. The major update is we went from a winter storm watch and we upgraded that to an advisory. And we mentioned that if we went to a warning, that's when you would have expected the amounts have increased. If we were staying the course, we were going to go to an advisory. An advisory just means that conditions are favorable for nuisance snows, or in this case, winter weather. Warning would be life-threatening. So that's our major concern, especially areas to the north. So those advisories, really Greene County, Pitt County, north and east, through the northeast part of the state. So really from Martin County, Pitt County, and Greene counties eastward through the northern part of the Outer Banks. You'll notice Hatteras Island down through Ocracoke, Crystal Coast, not in the advisory. Could we have a couple snowflakes in some of those areas? Yes, but it's really the purple area where we anticipate the accumulating snowfall to be. As far as amounts go, these have not changed much. Really proud of our forecasters at the office. This was an incredibly difficult forecast. The event last week was difficult because it was a major ice storm for some of us it was nothing, and then up north it was snow and sleet. So it was a challenge, but luckily the computer models we used were pretty consistent with the last storm. That was not the case this time. There was a wide variation of what may happen as late as yesterday morning, but our forecast has been very steady and just some fine tuning here and there. So a lot of improvement over the last couple of years, and the men and women at our local office have done a tremendous job. So the forecast has been, largely unchanged, just some small tweaks. If you're in this lighter blue shading, less than an inch, and especially down toward the Crystal Coast and especially Hatteras and Ocracoke, I'm not expecting any snow, but some of these areas down toward the coast, a lot of that snow is going to be falling from the sky, but not really accumulating much, maybe in grassy surfaces, elevated bridges, some of your cold spots. But by far, it has not changed. The highest amounts will be across the north, especially north of 264, then especially north of 64. If we have some 3-inch totals, we think they'll be isolated kind of the southern shore of the Albemarle Sound, places like Plymouth through Columbia, and then maybe up toward Kitty Hawk and Southern Shores and Duck, the northern end of the Dare County. But otherwise, things have stayed pretty much the same. Want to hop out for 1 second just to show you another tool on our website before I give you the timeline. We've mentioned this website before, again, weather.gov/Morehead City. Very proud of it. It's a good website with a lot of information. If you click on the snow icon at the bottom, or just bookmark weather.gov/Morehead City or MHX/winter, you can get all the maps I'm showing you now. So probabilistic snowfall, you might remember at one point the high end amount was really, really high. That has come down as well. So a lot of good information there, but the one I want to talk about is this Winter Storm Outlook and Severity Index. It's called WSSI. We had an emergency manager conference in Wilmington back in the fall, and we talked about this a little bit. It's a really useful tool for impacts. It takes into account not just snow, but snow and ice, population density, a bunch of different algorithms that are taken into account, and to try to give you an impact on what is expected. And it's based on climatology as well. So an inch of snow in Buffalo, New York is not going to highlight the map as much as it does in eastern North Carolina. So it takes that into account. And you can clearly see from the yellow shading area, that's where we expect minor impacts, mainly across the northern part of the area. Last week, as we got closer to the ice storm, this was highlighted red for areas like Jacksonville and Morehead City. So pretty neat tool. It's on the winter page, so you can always get that. The real reason I want to show you this is to show you what can happen if we get a big storm again. Again, I know a lot of you probably don't want that. I'm a snow lover, and I'm ready for spring myself. So if you've noticed, north of us, they've got some blizzard warnings out for the Delmarva up toward Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia. You can see the difference in DC area, minor impacts, but notice the oranges and reds, moderate to major impacts, and right along the coast, they've got that purple, extreme impacts. So just want to show you what hopefully doesn't look like anytime soon in our area, but a pretty neat tool through the Northeast. You can see the highest impacts are really toward the coast up through Massachusetts and Rhode Island. So again, it's called WSSI. You can always get it from our webpage, any webpage, weather.gov. Go to the bottom, click on the winter icon, and I would heavily encourage you to bookmark this page. A lot of nice maps, and then it's right here, this winter storm severity index. So you know that if I'm showing you tools that the forecast is largely unchanged. I just want to take that opportunity because we have a substantial amount of people on the call this morning. And I just want to make sure folks are aware of all the information at their fingertips. Going to quickly go through this slide and then turn it over to you for questions. Today, some rain developing this afternoon. Again, rain this evening. No concerns with activities through tonight. The early part of the night, just rain showers along the coast. As we head through the overnight, things quiet down for the most part. There's very dry air that's going to move into our area. The actual storm system is moving up the coast. As it does so and some colder air wraps back in, we could see a rain-snow mix, northern Outer Banks in the northern part of our area, well after midnight, looks like 2 or 3 o'clock. But what we're really watching is this area of snow back across the central part of the state. It's a disturbance higher up in the atmosphere, and as that moves on through, still between 5 and 9 a.m., that's when we expect our snow to develop. Fairly light, down toward the coast, it still may be mixing with a little rain. Surface temperature is very marginal, so this is why we're not expecting much in terms of accumulation down here, mainly grassy spots, maybe elevated roads and bridges. But the snow across the central part of North Carolina and especially across the northeast part, and you can see it's some steadier snows indicated by the darker blues. As we head through the day, though, it wraps up pretty quickly for most of us. By noontime, we're drying out. Places like Greenville and Kinston and Morehead City. Up across the north, it lingers longer, and that's why you'll have some of those higher amounts. So roughly from Plymouth through Columbia, mainland Dare, and the northern part of Dare County, still snowing. South of Oregon Inlet, it is all dry, and then by the afternoon, it's over with. So that's our event. Highest impact usually is what we expect, 5, 6 in the morning till about noon, especially across the far northeast. Tomorrow, most of us will be well above freezing, and we're going to melt whatever we have. And especially to the south, it's just going to be gone, and we're not going to have to worry about it. Up north, where we see the snow, whatever's not cleared off, whatever's wet or slushy will refreeze. Temperatures in the teens tomorrow night. And this is impressive when you get down to 24 on Hatteras Island. That's a cold air mass moving in. So please remember that, and pretty low wind chill values as well as folks head out to church on Sunday morning. There is going to be a lot of wind with this storm, especially toward the coast. Most of us, you'll notice that breeze picking up tonight and certainly during the day on Saturday. It's a north to eventually northwest wind, so still thinking that we could have some water level rises, Ocracoke and Hatteras Island, and then maybe some ocean issues, especially at periods of high tide. This is largely unchanged as well. Sound side would be 1 to 2 feet of inundation in low spots. And then on the ocean side, pretty large waves and pretty big swell. The thing, saving grace is the storm is rapidly moving away from us, but before it does so, high tide on Saturday and Sunday, we may have some ocean overwash at those times. So in summary, a moderate impact across the far north, especially north of 264. North of 64 is where we would have the very highest totals. Generally 1 to 2 inches up there. For the rest of us, just not a big deal. A coating to less than an inch. Most of that would be grassy surfaces, bridges, and things like that. And it will melt pretty quickly for most of us tomorrow. The exception is up across the north where you see more snow. You could have some refreezing Saturday night, so certainly keep that in mind. We mentioned 1 to 2 feet above ground level for the sound side issues, Hatteras, Ocracoke, those areas.